Hi there, I'm Tom. Welcome back to the Tom's Grinder Labs Burnament, the 2025 Medium Espresso Burnament. If you have been living in a cave, you don't know what I'm talking about. What we're talking about here is like a tennis tournament where instead of tennis players, we've got 16 predominantly flat burr 64 mil grinders together, and we put them head to head. And we did a knockout round and we went to quarterfinals. These are all the original 16 grinders that we put into a competition against each other. These were the quarterfinalists. This is what our original draw looked like, and then the quarterfinals are here. So the original burrs, the grinder sets and burr set for that matter are there. Quarterfinalists are there. The ones that you don't see here that are on this list had to go home with a tail between the legs. There are some close calls, and we'll talk about that after we've finished the final, lucky losers and so on. So this is where we're at. This is the semi-finals, and this is match 13 between the VS6 Supernova Flat Stock Burr and the Mazda Super Jolly 033 M Burr. And if you're wondering what the difference is between the Super Jolly 033 M Burr and the 233 M Burr, the only difference is the speed which it grinds. Though the latter burr, the 233 M Burr, was designed to get through cafe work a bit faster, but in the cup, the result's pretty much identical. So if you have either of those burr sets in any grinder, in particular the Super Jolly, it's pretty much going to be the same result in terms of what the burnament is. So this is match 13. In 3 to 4 days' time, I will have out for you the SSP High Uniformity or Espresso burr up against the WPM ZP1 Keba burrs. But for now, we're looking at match 13 semi-final between the VS6 on your left and the Mazda Super Jolly, which, as you can see, I converted to single doser on the right. I did have a request from someone to say, well, what do you mean by medium? So I took some photos. It really is hard to take a photo and have the picture look the same as what it looks to my eyes from the camera once you produce the slide. But I thought I'd give it a go anyway. So this is a light bean here. It's a sort of a dark tanny color, definitely not a full brown color. At this end of the spectrum, you've got a dark bean. And you can always tell the dark beans because not only are they a dark color, but they'll have oil on the outside as well. You can see a little bit of oil glistening there. And this is a medium bean. It actually looks a bit lighter than this to my naked eye, but I just thought I'd give that comparison so that people can go, oh, okay, that's what he means by a medium bean. If you've got a light or cinnamon roasted bean, it's going to be, as I said, a tanny color. And if you've got a dark bean, it's going to be very dark and it's going to have oil on the outside. And if it's in the middle, that's a medium. So just a reminder, we had 5 baristas rotating throughout the day, always a minimum of 3 blind tasting the espresso from each of the 2 grinders that are going head to head. 2 identical DE1 XL espresso machines, all variables mitigated as far as humanly possible. The flow rate, the grind size, the pressure, the temperature, everything was checked, equalized as far as humanly possible. The only differences were the 2 grinders that were being tested against each other and, of course, the baristas. So those are the variables that we have, but all blind taste tested using my proprietary logs and blind tasting system here with the Lazy Susans. Buckload of work, as I always say, so make sure you subscribe, share it with your caffeinated friends, because sharing the love is how I get rewarded. We build our subscriber base. Now, one of the things I thought I'd do for the semi-final is I would give you the road to the semi. So what were the grinders that these 2 grinders came up against and conquered? So the VS6 in the round of 16, which was the first round, defeated the Timor 064S, which, by the way, is a grinder I really like. So that was no mean feat. I wasn't involved in the judging of this one, but it was a split vote, 2 to 1. So it means that of the 3 baristas, one of them was going, kind of prefer the 064S. So what I like about the 064S, by the way, is very much like the VS6. It's very good at separating flavors. It works very well with the light to light medium or medium roast. A bit like the VS6, you can use it for anything, but I really think it shines when you're going slightly left to medium, so medium light or light, a bit like the VS6, as I said. So it defeated the Timor 064S, no mean feat, as I said, in the round of 16. The quarterfinal, it beat the Turin DF54, which in the previous round had defeated the Filos i200D burrs. Remembering, it's not about DF54 versus the Filos, it's about the burr set. In this case, the i200D burr shines at light roast espresso, but the DF54 shines at a medium roast espresso, or darker, I would suggest. Also not too bad at light either, but nevertheless, that was a unanimous 3-love decision. DF54, tick, 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 defeated Filos i200D burr. Road to the semi-final for the Mazda Super Jolly. in the round of 16, defeated the Gevi Orion unanimously, 3-love. In the quarterfinal, it defeated the Option O Misenburr, which in turn had defeated the DF64 stainless steel burr I really like in the round of 16 originally. So split vote also again 2-1. So after we've finished the whole kit and caboodle here and have announced the grand champion, which will be in about another week's time, I'm going to do a unlucky loser type thing. So we pick some of the grinder burrs that I think really are spectacularly good that lost in the earlier rounds. So that's to come, and it may well be that a burr set, well, it will be a burr set like the 064S will be featured in there. Let's have a look at the results from the blind taste testing. We'll go to Christoph first off. He picked the Mazda Super Jolly over the Varia VS6. And Christoph is probably a medium roaster aficionado. He knows his stuff. And I do have a summary of the actual verbal comments on this. But, oh, by the way, let me go back to that one. So you can actually press pause and have a look and see. In this case, Christoph rated the Mazda Super Jolly. Remember, he's blind tasting this. He ticks all the boxes, fills everything out. Once he's declared the winner, then he turns it over and he writes in the name of the winning burr. So he thought it was better for flavor strength, for body, for acidity, for clarity, for pretty much everything. So overall preferred, definitely for him, Mazda Super Jolly 033M burrs were the winner. Let's have a look at Daniel. Daniel also picked the Super Jolly, and similarly, he liked flavor strength, fuller body. The only thing he gave a nod to for the Varia VS6 was that it had a bit more clarity. But other than that, he's a Super Jolly guy. And in more ways than one, Stan also picked the Super Jolly. Now, I have to say, this was a big surprise to me because Stan is a guy who's really got finely tuned taste buds. But again, tick, 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 all the way around, flavor strength, body, clarity, etc. Surprise to me. Personally, I would have picked the VS6 as my favorite, but hey, I wasn't involved in this one, and it's just as well. It wouldn't have made a difference to the winner anyway because it was a 3-zip victory to the Mazda Super Jolly. So comments, more flavor strength, body, clarity, better finish, entirely better. And the third one was also a slam dunk. So there you have it. It's the Mazda Super Jolly in a unanimous points decision over the Varia VS6. So the Mazda Super Jolly will be going on to the final, which was a pain in the ass because every time this thing competed, we had to lug all 20 kg of it, whatever it was, over to the espresso bench, do it all, clean it all up, and lug it back again. And for the next one, it kept so we had to keep bringing this thing back to the espresso bench. It is a grinder I really like, even though it's got a bit of retention, even though it's single dose, it's still got retention. But the thing is that we transported this thing back and forward all day, so there was going to be retained grinds in it. It still beat out the VS6. So if you've got a Mazda Super Jolly, you're a bit concerned that it does have retained grinds. I wouldn't be, because clearly it didn't affect the flavor of this. Sure, if you left it 4 or 5 days, maybe that would make a difference, but I don't think it would make a lot of difference because most of the grinds that are retained and not exchanged. So what I mean by that is that when you use the grinder, a lot of the grinds, the little hollows, etc., will fill up, and that's retained grinds. They're not going to come out again until you do a deep clean. The exchange grinds are the ones you worry about, and they're the ones that sit in the hopper up here for, say, 3 or 4 days in between use. And then if you're using it in the next pour, then you're going to get that in the cup. So be that as it may, it won 3 out of 3 judges. So let's have a look at how we're looking now for the next round. The Mazda Super Jolly 033M goes through to the final, and it will be taking on the winner of the SSPHU Espresso Burr or the WPM ZP1 Kerber Burr, which is coming your way in match 14 in just a little tickety-boo. So SSPHU versus WPM ZP1. So many letters and numbers to remember with this thing. So look forward to seeing you in 3 or 4 days' time. As always, get your digital butt over to tomsgrinderlab.com. Download my free espresso troubleshooting and optimization guide because it will only make your espresso better and better and better. Cheers. See you in 3 or 4 days' time.